Hey everybody, this is Reformed Orthodoxy here. So apparently I made a video yesterday about the Surviving Hitler series. But, whatever. From now on, I will post videos Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I promise. That's the new schedule from now on. I swear. Okay, so without further ado, this is Chapter 6, Learning the Rules of Surviving Hitler. Excuse me, a boy in the Nazi death camps. Okay. Chapter 6, Learning the Rules. The light came on in the dark. Up! Shouted a harsh voice. Up! Up! Jack was instantly awake. Prisoners were hopping down from the upper bunks, grabbing their cans, and hurrying out the door. A fat man wearing the same uniform as the other prisoners thundered through the barracks, a truncheon in his hand. He was swinging left and right at the men, screaming at them to hurry up. This was called a capo, the prisoner in charge of the 100 men in this barracks, which I will show, which I actually have a picture of in my book called The Holocaust Chronicle, if I remember correctly. I think I'll show that when I'm done with this chapter. 100 men in this barracks. Jack could not believe his size. All the other men were skin and bones. As the capo reached his bunk, Jack managed to duck a blow coming his way. Grabbing his can, he started for the door, almost tripping in the awkward wooden shoes. He followed the other prisoners to an outside area where he saw men eating. Already his stomach was growling. He hadn't eaten over a day. Then the smell struck him. Something putrid, something so rotten that you wouldn't even throw it to the pig pens back in his uncle's village. Hey, chill. Sorry about that. That was Ruger, my uncle's dog. Thought he would throw up. How could food smell so bad? The line was long and desperate. Jack fought to hold his place as the prisoners behind him shoved and pushed. They were like starving dogs. The capos walked along, striking out savagely. Jack could see that you treated them with the same difference you gave the guards. Not all of them were fat like this capo. Most of them seemed mean. They did the work of overseeing the prisoners while the guards stood at a distance or stayed up in the watchtowers. Prisoners received their portions of food and immediately wolfed them down. In spite of the threat of a beating, hands reached out for anything and everything. Jack felt a knot in his stomach as he neared the front of the line. What if someone took his food from him? Ahead of him, prisoners thrust out their cans towards the cook, who filled them. When the prisoner in front of Jack held out his can, the cook eyed him, then put some thin soup from the top of the kettle in it. Give me more, the prisoner protested. This is just water. Instead, the cook struck the prisoner's can with the soup ladle, spilling the watery contents onto the muddy ground. With a cry, he fell to his knees and began to lick up whatever traces of food he could find. Of the soup he could find. I'm sorry. A capo was instantly on him, pounding him on the head and shouting at him to get up. Dazed and unable to rise, the man was dragged away by the capo, who continued to beat him. Jack's heart beat hard as he held out his can. The cook filled it. To his surprise, Jack saw a potato floating in the thin soup. He glanced at the cook to thank him, but the cook didn't look at Jack. Ow, my hand is hurting. Jack quickly stepped away before the capo could strike him. This was a strange new world. Now, in this strange new world, one man got nothing, and the next got a precious bit of potato in an otherwise watery soup. What was the secret of getting a potato? The soup's taste was so disgusting Jack could barely swallow the first sip. It reeked of rotten turnips. he could see flecks of dirt in it. At home he would have thrown it away, but not here. He drank it as quickly as he could. "You get the bread tonight," a prisoner standing by him said quietly. "Don't try to save it. Someone will steal it." Jack recognized the man from the bunk next to his. "Come quickly now," the man said. "You only have a few minutes to put your can on your bunk and get to the latrine. Then it's roll call." Jack concentrated on not... Hey, you. Sorry, this is Lily. This is Lily, my mom's pug. Jack concentrated on not stumbling as they hurried back to the barracks. It was hard to do anything but shuffle in the shoes. He learned the man's name was Aaron, and he was a barber from Krakow. He had sunken cheeks and a large nose. He had been in the camp for 2 months. He did not know where his wife was, but he presumed she must also be in a camp. Fortunately, he said they had no children. As they stood in the latrine... Hey, you. Don't step on my book. Sorry. As they stood in line at the latrine, Aaron pointed to a tall smokestack on the other side of the camp and told Jack it was the crematorium where corpses were incinerated, leaving only ashes. "It's quicker and more sanitary than burial, and many die here," Aaron said in a way, by way of explanation. "God, I can't read today. Sorry." Jack shuddered. The Nazis seemed to have figured out everything, including how to eliminate evidence that someone ever existed. He finished out the latrine. He hurried to the open square in the middle of the camp, then into a row behind the fat capo. "Say nothing in line except to call out your number when they count us," Aaron warned. "Stay at perfect attention and do nothing to make them notice you." Prisoners filled the square, thousands of them. The guards in the watchtowers kept their machine guns on them and surveyed them with binoculars. For the next hour, the sun came out. As the sun came up, Capo shouted, "Count off," at their groups. Jack saw no one younger than he was. He wouldn't be here either if it had not been for the letter with the Nazi stamp. Finally, the fat Capo seemed satisfied with his group, and the counting stopped. Still, the prisoners stood, the sun beating down on them. Jack needed to go to the latrine. The soup made him feel sick. He wished he could ask Aaron what they were waiting for, but he knew better than to speak. From the corner of his eye, Jack saw a group of SS officers and guards walking to the front. Several of the guards had snarling German Shepherd dogs on short leashes. Jack could only imagine what would happen if one of those dogs was set on a prisoner. The capos reported the numbers to the officers. They talked among themselves. Then an officer blew his whistle, and one by one the columns marched off to work. Jack felt exhausted, and the day's work had not yet begun. This picture shows inmates at, I believe, the Buchenwald concentration camp. Roll call was always a terrifying experience for prisoners. The fat capo ordered Jack to work into a work detail on the left. Aaron went the other way. Soon Jack and about 150 other prisoners were marching towards the forest outside the camp. SS guards on either side of them, ready to strike a prisoner with the gun butt or beat them over the head for the slightest of infraction. Jack struggled with the shoes. "Be alert to everything," he told himself. "Do not get hit." When they finally stopped, he thought he would collapse. He knew they had come at least 3 miles. Between the awful march in the impossible shoes, the scant and the awful breakfast, how could they possibly work all day? But they did, without breaks and no water or food. All day long, using only axes and chains, they pulled tree stumps to make way for a road. It was back-breaking labor. In the afternoon, it got so hot that Jack wondered if they would all go mad from thirst. Then a prisoner stumbled, causing the tree stump to just coming out of the ground to fall back into place, requiring it to be pulled out again. The guards were instantly on the prisoner, beating him until he was unconscious. When the group finally returned back to camp, 2 prisoners helped the injured man. "They'll shoot him in a day or two," a prisoner whispered to Jack. "If you can't work, it's the end of you." Jack felt his blood chill. He could already see 2 differing philosophies among prisoners. Some tried to work as little as possible so they could conserve energy. Others tried to work harder so they could avoid beatings. The latter was the better way, Jack decided. He would do here what he had done during the labor details back in the village. He wouldn't complain. He would act respectful. He would be likable, cooperative, and as good worker as he could be. He would make sure his overseers considered him of value. Though he knew they would never do so, he wanted them to say, "We count on Jack," or rather, "We count on prisoner 16,013. When they reached the camp, the men lined up for their ration of bread. Jack's body was heavy with fatigue. Every muscle ached. He longed to lie on his bunk, but he was desperate for food. Once again, hunger turned men into savages. When he was finally given a slice of bread, Jack held it tightly in his hands so no one could grab it from him. He choked on the first bite. He forced himself to eat, wondering what was wrong with the bread. Why was it so gritty? He finished it and hurried to the latrine, holding his nose to avoid the stench. When he crawled onto his mattress, Aaron was waiting in the bunk next to him. "Where were you today?" Jack asked. "Except on days when I shave new prisoners, I cut the hair of SS officers and guards and always give them shaves." He said, "It's not so difficult, but if they don't like what I do, they can kill me. If they like it, they might reward me. And you, Jack, you survived your first day? I never worked so hard or eaten so little. The bread, full of sawdust." Jack wondered if he heard correctly. "They use sawdust as filler. That's why it tastes so terrible." "Always?" Aaron sighed. "The food will not get better. This is all they give you." He made sure no one was watching and slipped Jack a thick biscuit. One of the officers liked his haircut today." "I can't take your food," Jack replied, though his mouth was watering. Already watering, sorry. "He gave me 2 and I'd eaten 1. Take food when you can get it and never question. Many men starve to death here." Jack nodded in gratitude. "Get up early to shower. You must stay clean or you will get sick. Tomorrow I will wake you, but you will learn to wake early on your own." "Sorry," Aaron said. The fat capo came through the barracks, his truncheon at the ready. "No talking," he growled. A minute later, the lone light bulb went out. Jack ate the biscuit. His body hurt, yet tomorrow he had to do again what he had done today. Could he? He knew he must. He closed his eyes and fell asleep instantly. Now I'm going to show you a picture of that camp I saw. Of that picture you saw. I can't remember what page it's on, but I believe it's in the year 1947, because this book is divided into years. Darn it, if I can find it. Nope, maybe it's in 38. Maybe it's in 1938. My thumb hurts. Ow, my thumb hurts. Huh. Okay, maybe it's in 1940. So I know it's in here. I know it's in here. That's weird. Oh, I can't find it, but I know it's in here. But anyway, thank you for reading, and I will do Monday, Wednesday, Friday videos. Thank you. God bless. Oh. And next time I do the video, I believe tomorrow's Friday. I mean, no, not tomorrow's Friday. I believe on Friday I believe the day after. Okay. Anyway, on Friday I will do Chapter 7, the game. Goodbye.